Hey, it's Tank from Energy, and we are talking hard. Here to do 2019's Best of Music List. I've compiled a playlist that you can click below. I'm gonna go in alphabetical order just because I didn't want to rank these things in any way because a lot of them are so different from one another that even comparing them would be ridiculous. And since nothing came out before this, I'm just gonna go right out and say I'm a big Billie Eilish fan. I like When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I like that album a lot. It was the song You Should See Me in a Crown. I like that one. I think that was released in 2018, but it was on the 2019 album, so yeah, that and obviously Bad Guy and all the sounds and production that her and her brother did for that record are really cool. It's really nice and refreshing to hear young people just doing it right. That's a songwriting partnership. That's like Simon and Garfunkel. It's like John and Paul. You know what I mean? It's like that works. That's a chemistry that works. And coming from experience and having chemistry with other musicians, I can tell that it is genuine, and I like where it's coming from. I see it as just really catchy. It's just really catchy, emotional. It's resonating with a lot of people, and yeah, I just think it's a great record. Next up, Cromags. Cromags put out 2 new EPs, but my preferred of the 2 is Don't Give In. I like all 3 songs, just solid, 1, 2, 3, just bam, 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 like from the get-go with the just like, okay, we gotta know, like that's that song just reworked, and I think that was clearly on purpose. And Drag You Under, that song has a really catchy chorus hook. Harley is just really killing it with the songwriting. Obviously for a while there it was kind of like, who's the Cromags? And then there was the settlement. And Harley just came out with 2 EPs in the same year that he announced that he had that trademark back. And both of them are really solid. But the Don't Give In EP with No One's Victim and yeah, the Don't Give In song was really good too. Really inspiring lyrics. They're not like poetry like Shakespeare or anything, but it's hardcore. It's really blunt and to the point, but it helped me. It helped me get through this year. It helped me persevere and not give in. So it's, it did its job. It served its purpose. Thank you, Harley. Thank you, Cromags. I'm smirking because next up is my favorite band, Ghost. Anytime they come out with any type of anything, I just am completely giddy over it. Just like the Misfits when I was a little teenager. Ghost put out a 2-song, 7-inch EP that I ordered on Amazon and never got. So I gotta still get my hands on a physical copy of it. Mary on a Cross, I thought, just blew me away. I was like, how is that not the A-side? That's the actual B-side, but it's Kiss the Go-Goat, B-side, Mary on a Cross. And the songs they're funny. Mary on a Cross is more on the serious side, and it's my preferred song out of the 2 because of that. And just the power is like, and the truth of the matter is I never let you go, let you go. That is so beautiful. And then he says, tickle you internally, and I see nothing wrong with that. In the same song, it's just very funny. I would be afraid that would ruin a great melody or song, and he just boldly goes where I dare not go, and that's why I go to him for entertainment. Tobias Forge, you are a genius. Next up is Grimes with We Appreciate Power and My Name is Dark. I listen to that song a lot. It's just, you know me as the girl who plays with fire, like just that catchy little, I like her like little fairy voice or something. It's cool. I like everything about her. I just discovered her this year. My partner Tiffany who's behind the camera. She showed me Grimes. I think it might have been because of her collaboration with Poppy. Maybe not. Yeah, I think it was. I was like, okay, who is this person? Then I heard We Appreciate Power, and that hook was so good. That song's just awesome. That's just a power anthem. No pun intended, I guess. Yeah, I really enjoyed 2 singles from Grimes, who to me is like a new artist to me. I know she's been around for a while, and I'm primarily into like rock music, but mostly rock music with like a pop sensibility, so it shouldn't be too surprising that I like a good amount of pop as well. This next song, like, I know that everybody knows this song, and you're gonna roll your eyes at me when I say it, but it's so catchy, and Trent Reznor was kind of behind it accidentally. So, Old Town Road, it's so good, it's so catchy, it's fun, it's got a great hook. I think that on like a, very vague, general, I guess, ambiguous level, like anybody can identify with that song. The lyrics, it sounds cheesy, and you think of the video and you laugh. And I laughed my ass off when I saw that video. I thought it was like, is this serious? Is this really happening? Like, country trap or whatever. I was like, is this real? And then the hook, I was like, this is a really catchy, strong hook. And then, yeah, I obviously looked on the internet further and found out that this was like the biggest phenomenon, like currently going. But yeah, I enjoyed that phenomenon, and I think it's great. There's nothing wrong with a fun pop song. I actually did notice, because I listened to that Ghosts 1 through 4 ambient instrumental record that Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, same thing, put out in 2008, I believe. I listened to that all the time, just as ambient background music, and so I recognized that little sample before I knew. I was like, this sounds familiar, like, what is this? Then I looked into it, and Trent Reznor had a credit, and I was like, oh my, this is really interesting, and I thought it was really cool, actually, that Trent went out of his way to wait. From what I heard, he caught wind of it, and got word that this thing, Old Town Road, was catching on, and he said, well, don't stop it. Don't do anything to stop it. Or something along those lines. He didn't want to stop its momentum, but he wanted to, like, figure it out and do everything. And then he stayed out of the spotlight for a while and didn't even comment on the song. And down the list we go. Ozzy Osbourne, gone solo again because of Black Sabbath's demise in 2017, I think. I can't remember. It was 49 years that Black Sabbath was a band. I know that. So I just can't remember which year they were founded in, because it was like the late 60s, and I can't remember which year they broke up, so it's a little hazy on both ends. Ozzy, regardless, I digress. Ozzy has a new song out called Under the Graveyard. I did a review of it on my channel, like kind of in the middle of a regular life update, but I really like this song a lot, and I'm glad that Ozzy's working with a pop producer. And I like that he has Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers and Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses on bass. I think that that's like a really smart move, just to get that solid rock rhythm section. Like, Chad Smith is an amazing drummer, and Duff McKagan is the reason that I gave Guns N' Roses a chance later in life, because when I found out It's So Easy was written by him, I was like, wow, I gotta listen to this. This sounds like punk. And then I found out he had a punk background, and I like his writing style, and I didn't even know this going into it, and I just really liked the groove of that song. I like the music video. It was really cool because I've seen, like, a lot of people, many documentaries about Ozzy and his life, and Sharon and how she saved him. He was just locked up in the hotel, and I saw God Bless Ozzy Osbourne, which was the documentary on Ozzy's life. I directed by his son Jack. I believe it was directed by him. I know he had something to do with it. But it was a really powerful song. I will never lose faith in Ozzy's ability to write a great melody. He might have his faults, and some of his material might be pretty lackluster, or some of the later Ozzy stuff has a lot of filler on it. He will never lose that knack that he has. I was watching in a documentary about Black Sabbath, and when they were doing 13, I think it was Weezer actually, he said that Ozzy just has this ability that is like beyond musicianship or something, like where he can just write melodies even though he doesn't know how to play any instruments. He knows how to write a melody, and that's still very clear to this day with that Under the Graveyard song. Every single melody on that is memorable. That's his best song in a long time. Like, I really like that I Don't Want to Stop song from 2007's Black Rain. Is that the name of the record? I think, yeah. I like that song, but none of the other songs from that album, and I don't really like any of the songs on Scream, which is 2010, and that's the last thing he did, so it's like, it's been quite a while since Ozzy's done anything that I even like, and I love that new song, and the video is really intense, and Val Kilmer's son did a great job as Ozzy, and yeah, I just love it. I love Ozzy. I'm always gonna be a fanboy of Ozzy. So let's move on. LMNOPOPPY, I'm Poppy. Next is Poppy. And I discovered her last year, because she put out a record called Am I a Girl? And it had some heavy metal guitar riffing. So I was curious, but actually my girlfriend Tiffany introduced me to Poppy before any of this, like before she went heavy or anything. I was watching her weird videos on YouTube, and I was just like, what is going on? First of all, I am always interested if you manage to come up with a good one-word band name or artist name. And she came up with Poppy as a pop star's name. That's brilliant. But anyway, Poppy put out that song with Grimes that I mentioned. I thought it was a gimmick. I actually thought I hated it at first. I was just like, this is stupid. I was like, this production doesn't blend. Nothing sounds right to me at first. I didn't like the new Cromags at first. Sorry, Harley, but I love it now. It's almost amazing. I think it actually changed my life this year. So thanks again, Harley. So, it's all good. The production was back and forth between clean, like, guitar, pop. The songs X and Play Destroy, those were the heavier ones from Am I a Girl that I really liked. I thought that, like, In a Minute, that song was really catchy. I liked her pop songs too. No. It was Everybody Wants to Be Poppy. It was that song that I was just like, this is really catchy. It reminded me of the simple, catchy songwriting that I like in a lot of artists. It's 2 chords. It's back and forth. It's just brilliantly simple. I love that song, and it's not available on streaming services, so I will link you below to the video of it that I think is great. That's what sold me on Poppy as a musician and as a singer and everything. Then she did Am I a Girl, which had In a Minute and Play Destroy, and that's when she started to get a little heavy. And I was like, this is weird. This seems like they're like awkwardly just jamming a new genre in. It felt like that for me at first. But then I kept listening, and because there was some draw to it, and that everybody wants to be Poppy, everybody wants to be someone else, like that hook, I kept being like, that's this girl, like that's that girl, that's that singer, that's that songwriter. I kept connecting the dots, and I was just like, I get this. I think I get this. And it was funny then it started to all just make sense. I liked the Play Destroy, how it sounds like Mortal Kombat music, or like it's really heavy and intense, and her voice is so gentle and nuanced. I think someone else said this, but it's like ASMR or something. Everything is over compressed. Even just the way she talks, it just sits on top of heavy music. Very interestingly. But anyway, she put out an EP called Choke, and I thought that those songs were really good. The title song, Choke, obviously is really good. Scary Mask, I thought had a really great, I think it's guitar and synth. It might just be synth or whatever leads, where it's got this like minor ascending, descending thing where it's just like it just sounds really off in a good way. It's just really cool. I like it. I just have become a huge fan of Poppy this year because of how I've watched her progress from just this weird YouTube girl to this acoustic song that I heard. I'm like, okay, she does music, and then the music's actually catchy, and then now she's on Sumerian Records, and now she's touring, and I'm gonna go see her in February actually. So that's gonna be awesome. Next up on the track list for that is a song called Meat, which I thought was really cool because it like takes on the perspective of aliens thinking of humans the way we think of animals. You know, she says there's meat on me, and it's clearly a vegan song. It's a song about veganism, and if you think about it the way she's singing about it, and then think about what we do to animals, it's pretty obvious what the statement is. I think it's really cool. I think that maybe members of Earth Crisis should be informed of this, and maybe a Poppy Earth Crisis collaboration would be a good thing that people might want to hear. I know that I would love to hear that. Tell me that wouldn't be good. Tell me that wouldn't be good. The inventors of brutal vegan metalcore with Poppy. Tell me in the comments below how awesome you think that would be, because that would be pretty good. Okay. A little bit more Poppy, and then we're going to be on to the next stuff. Poppy released 4 new singles this year, and I think she said on Instagram today that she's going to be releasing one more before the album, with a music video, obviously, because that's like what everybody does. I think they're just all so good. That I Disagree, Concrete, Blood Money, Fill the Crown. I mean, I like I Disagree and Concrete the most, the first 2 that they released. They obviously released them first for a reason, but that doesn't mean that I think the rest of the album is going to be bad. Actually, I have really high hopes for it. We pre-ordered it, and hopefully that'll be arriving any day now. I haven't even got to do. Next up is Ramallah, a hardcore punk street rock and roll, I guess, band from Boston, which is the, you know, it's basically White Trash Rob. You know, not to speak on his behalf, but I think it's where he focuses all of his artistic, like musical artistic output is through Ramallah, it seems. The new record that he put out, first of all, just the new record that he put out is amazing. The teaser tracks that were released from Sailor's Grave Records were very interesting. They weren't the best songs on the record, which was a pleasant surprise for me. I really liked that whatever happened to that hardcore music we all know and love lyric, and how it fades into, you know, he repeats it again and then goes, well, here's a little anthem for you. It's just, it's that Rob Lind charm that adds to it that just gets me every time. You're so good at writing songs, Rob. You are so fucking good. But you go, yeah, you really do launch into an anthem. I Don't Believe is, that song literally made me cry. After like maybe the 20-something listen or whatever, I forget what lyric, but something in that song really resonated with me. Maybe not on a literal level, on about every word you were saying, I feel like I'm just talking to Rob right now, but just on what Rob is saying in this song, that it brought me to tears, and that doesn't happen too often for me at all in music. Rob knows how to hit that emotional chord, strike that emotional chord in you that, or in me, that makes him the brilliant artist that he is. That song, I Don't Believe, is the song on that album. I thought that it was going to be a heavy album because Ramallah's track record of music was fairly heavy. You know, he had some songs in there on Kill a Celebrity that were more maybe Sinners and Saints songs or something of that nature. But every single release had something like brutally heavy or really dark and heavy or just dark, like scary on it. And it's not that this doesn't have its dark and scary moments, but it's all funneled through it's a punk record. It's not even a heavy album, which was so refreshing to hear that. And it's pretty brief. It's 8 songs. I'm not going to go through the whole track listing, but when I heard the song City Boy, I was floored. I couldn't believe that that song was a new song, and I was so blown away. And I was watching Rob play acoustic videos. I'm going through his channel. I'm like, how does it? I'm like, I'm trying to find like other, like him maybe live videos and stuff, and I'm trying to figure out how to play it on acoustic because I wanted to learn how to figure it out, and I kept finding older and older videos of it, and I was like, how is it? How is this? This can't be. This record just came out. And then he said something about in one of the videos, he said, this is a Blood for Blood or a Sinners and Saints or whatever I want to call it song. And I thought to myself, was this song already released? Am I oblivious? Am I just oblivious? And turns out, yeah, I was oblivious. I was completely oblivious to the fact that it appears on Blood for Blood's 2004 album, Serenity. I had completely digested Ramallah's version of City Boy. I knew it by heart before I even listened to the Blood for Blood version, and I put the Blood for Blood version on. It sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks to me. It was like hyper speed. I never liked Buddha's vocals. I was never a fan of his voice at all, aside from any allegations or whatever. I'm just saying, I wasn't even a fan of Blood for Blood until Ramallah came along because I liked Rob's voice so much, and I thought Blood for Blood had songs that were good. There was something I wasn't really getting about them, but I'm getting into them a lot more in hindsight now that I'm learning more about Rob's music since Blood for Blood. Anyway, when I heard the Blood for Blood version, I was like, this sounds like a weird sped up demo version recorded at a professional studio with like some guy just shouting and just yelling over what could have been a good song and ended up finally becoming a good song like 15 years later. Not just a good song, a better song than I'll probably ever write. Holy, yeah, I can't believe it, how good you are at writing songs, Rob. We should write songs together. Next up, alphabetically, is Rammstein. I don't know. Rammstein. Let's go with Rammstein. I've been into Rammstein since I was in middle school, and that was in the 90s. They put out a record called Herzlied, I think. It's the one before Saint Sucht with Du Hast on it, which I also got in middle school. I just remember that I was like, I can't understand a word these guys are saying, but oh my god, is this intense. I was just so into Rammstein, and I was just listening. That title track, Saint Sucht, that holds up. You should listen to that with good headphones. It's really good. They put out a new record this year. I haven't dove into the whole thing, so I'm not gonna just sit here and tell you the whole thing's amazing, but I really do like the title track, Deutschland. That commanding Till presence that he has. I really just like that song a lot, so I had to include it on the list. I don't really have much to say because I don't know what they're saying. So it's just a good heavy song. Okay, we are slowly but surely getting through this. Next up, alphabetically, Slipknot released a new record called We Are Not Your Kind this year. It's their first album since 2016's The Gray Chapter. I liked some of those songs. I like this album better. I think that they seem to have figured out just being a band with the new drummer, and The Gray Chapter seemed like a transitional album for them. But when I heard Unsainted, I was like, okay, this is like better than anything on, except maybe The Devil and I really like that song on the last record. I really like that song. That's a catchy song. And I thought Birth of the Cruel was just a viciously brutal song. I love that song. And the closing track, Solway Firth, I think is how you say it. I'm just saying it phonetically the way it's written out. That song's just epic and intense. It's the best song on the album, I think. That's my favorite. I might have listened to Birth of the Cruel more. I can objectively say that Solway Firth is the best song. Corey Taylor sings with some sort of like Irish accent or something in the beginning. And it's really strange, but I don't mind it. It's such a good song. Now we have arrived at Tool. I have been obsessively listening to this record, probably as much as so many other people have been. I cannot get enough of Fear Inoculum. Even though the Chocolate Chip Trip is... I can't handle it. I really, man, I can't ever handle it. That's the one part of that album that just bothers me. But somebody did word it nicely online. They said, oh, it's the thunder rolling in before the tempest, if you think of it like conceptually. And I was just like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm just gonna think of it that way so I can at least make an excuse for there being a 4.5-minute drum solo as a song on an album. Other than the Chocolate Chip Trip, I love everything. Strangely, people seem to like Invincible and Descending right off the bat, and those two were the ones that took the most time to grow on me. And now I love them. Fear Inoculum, the song, is just perfect Tool. When I first heard that, I was like, this sounds like Anima Tool, except advanced and more realized and figured out. It is the same four human beings, so it's gonna sound like that. Fear Inoculum, 10.5-minute song, broke a record for being the longest song to be number one on the Billboard chart, which beat out David Bowie's Black Star from 2017. They're not even that much different in length, but it's still pretty impressive that after a 13-year studio album, Silence, the first song they released just goes to number one and breaks that record. That's pretty impressive. At least shows how anticipated the album was. And then the second song, Pneuma. There's just, these songs are too... It's not, you can't even... I would have to make an entire video for this album to really express how much I love this album. I got every physical version of it. I've been listening to it obsessively. I have the 96 kilohertz 24-bit high-res HD tracks version of it. I'm obsessive about this album. As you can see, I don't know why people don't like the interludes. I think that they're great. I think that the one that actually had me look up the litany against fear is the mind killer, that whole thing, so... There's not really, like, a whole lot to say. When you're getting a Tool album, you know what you're getting. You're getting a Tool album, which means you don't know what you're getting. It's just, you either love it or you hate it, it seems. A lot of people are just like, oh, I can't stand Tool. I never understood that. I don't like it, or they love it, or... And then they make funny videos. Every Tool fan this, or, you know, whatever. But I love Tool. I've always loved Tool. I got into them... As a little 12-year-old kid, I got a WBCN Boston, 104.1 WBCN Boston. I don't know, I think they're still an online radio station, actually. My dad was friends with the DJ there, Chachi, and we would get CD samplers from the radio station. I remember I got a copy of a WBCN CD sampler and it had Sober on it, and that was a brand new song. I was 12. That makes sense? No, I was younger than that then. I feel like it was around that age, or I don't know. It was 1993 or 1994 had to have been, so I was like 8 or 9. 8 or 9, okay. That's okay. I was 8 or 9, and heard Sober, and I was like, this band is incredible, but I didn't hear anything else by them. I didn't know how. And then Anima came out, and my dad got that, and I became obsessed, and the infatuation only grew from there. Okay, one more thing about the Tool album. The song Tempest, incredible. That's I don't know if that's my favorite song of the year because of Mary on a Cross and how unbelievably good that is. But Tempest is something else. They just like declared, well, here, this is. Anybody care to beat this? It was like such an impressive thing to just tell the world, here you go. Here's this opus, this masterpiece, this 15-minute. It's phenomenal. I don't even know. I love Tool. Okay, alphabetically, after Tool comes Too Poor. And Too Poor is just I don't even know who she is. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who she is, but you're gonna know who she is because I'm gonna link her below. Say hello to Chloe. Yeah, that song Crazy Girls by Too Poor, I cannot get it out of my head when I hear it. She only has 2 songs, I think, on Spotify, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I even listened to the other one. I just keep listening to Crazy Girls because it's just such a good song. It's so catchy that the beat is really good. It's a really catchy song. It's a catchy pop song. It's fun. I like the lyrics a lot. I like Crazy Girls. I do. And I like that It Takes Two to Toxic. What can you say about that? It's just such a catchy song. It'll get stuck in your head all day. Listen to it below. Listen. Now, at the end of the list, end of the line, Weezer. I am including Weezer in this because I always like something that Rivers and Quo come up with when they release music. The song that stuck out the most to me on the new Weezer record was Living in LA. I can't get enough of that song. That song has such a good vibe to it. It's so catchy. That is just perfected. It's just such a good pop song I think it's a minor key. If I'm loving it as much as I do and I'm remembering it in my mind, like this girl I like, I'm talking about this girl I like, but yeah, that's a minor key. It's like, that hook is so, there are a bunch of hooks in that song that are just so good. That's Rivers. You did it again. It's a good one. That's a really good song. And Zombie Bastards and Can't Knock the Hustle. Hasta luego, adios. Because I didn't really love the entire Black album, even though I did get it on vinyl. I liked the A-side mostly. I like the song I'm Just Being Honest. It reminded me, the lyrics are just, if you met me between the years of 2006 and 2010, just read the lyrics. It's just I like that song, mostly because of the lyrics. And it's catchy too, it does get stuck in my head, but I like the lyrics to that one, it's funny. So, that about wraps up 2019, as far as music goes. And, yeah, I can't wait to hear what 2020 has to offer. And neither can Chloe. Now that I have Chloe, because she won't leave me alone, I am going to sign off. So please hit like, please subscribe, comment with your opinions and things you enjoyed in 2019. And talk hard.